to the bill. And I said, Calvin, bring the whole Black Caucus down. Let's go in there together. Well, some of the Black Caucus members hadn't arrived, but we went to the Governor Roy Burns' office, and all the media was camped out, and Governor Burns said, well, I became governor, and I made a commitment that whenever the sponsors of the bill were ready, I would help them. And if it passed the legislature, I would sign it. And he said, Tyrone, you got to say something. I said, well, it's been a long battle, almost 20 years. I said, we've done the right thing. I said, in 1956, Governor Marvin Griffin and Denmark Groove and others changed the flag for all the wrong reasons. And now we're changing the flag back to the pre-56 flag. And I said, this is what the people of this state respect, and that's what they want us to do. And I said, that's it. He handed me the pen that he signed the bill, and I said, I need a whole lot of these because I'm not the only one.
Right,
he said,
right.
well, you take that pen. I got some more. So that was January 31st, 2001. That was a proud day. And all day long, we had to do interviews. I mean, NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, New York Times, USA Today, and all of our Georgia media was just all day long we were doing interviews. Georgia Public TV, that whole day was spent doing interviews. And everybody around the world saw this. And then South African TV, Japanese TV, Canadian TV, Tokyo, people coming from all over the world to Georgia. And we didn't realize it was such a big deal until all of this, the BBC came from London. They camped out at the Capitol, and I had to do interviews for 2 days. And I said, I'm not the only one, y'all. Go and talk to some of these other folks. And they said, well, we got to get you first. And then Reverend James Orange and I had to venture to South Africa. When we land in Durban, South Africa, the first thing on their mind was the Georgia flag. How did you do it? How did you do it? I said, Reverend Orange, we can't get away from this. He said, no, because it's a bigger deal than we realize in the state of Georgia. It's bigger out there around the world than we realize in Georgia. So that was a major accomplishment because we did this together. Now, one other thing I must mention that's on Dr. King's agenda, and I say Dr. King's agenda because I still feel Dr. King's presence. I wear Dr. King every day, as you can see.
Okay.
This is a button that I wear every day. When we're in session, I walk around with it on my suit and ties, and I'm wearing a suit and tie when we're in session. I don't dress casual like this.
Right.
And I always have on Dr. King. Because Dr. King had such a profound impact on my life as a child growing up. I met Dr. King when I was 15 because of Hosea Williams. I met Hosea when I was 13. He introduced me and other children to Dr. King. So I come to work for SCLC in 1967, and 1 year later, Dr. King was assassinated.
Wow.
1 year later. It had a tremendous impact on my life. So for me, I still feel the presence of King. The spirit of Dr. King is what keeps me going, I guess. One of the last projects that Dr. King had on his agenda when he was assassinated in Memphis on April 4th, 1968, was the Moores Ford Bridge lynching case in Monroe, Georgia. He had the Poor People's Campaign March on Washington, but he also had the Moores Ford case on his list. And the night that Dr. King was scheduled to fly into Monroe from Memphis, Tennessee, he was assassinated.
Wow.
He had told us on March 21st, 1960 in Macon. The last time I saw him alive was on that day, March 24th, 1968, in Macon, Georgia, at New Zion Baptist Church. He had told me and Robert Howard from Social Circle and others, and Mr. Dan Young from Covington, Monroe. Mr. Young was the one that kept pushing Dr. King and Abernathy to come to Monroe to deal with this case. This case represents the last open public mass lynching in America. When Dr. King said in Macon that day, he said, when Ralph and I finish in Memphis, we are coming to Monroe to take on the Moores Ford Bridge lynching. He said, when I was 17 years old, the lynchings occurred. And he said he wrote letters to the president. He wrote letters to the Attorney General of the USA, the FBI director, members of Congress. He wrote letters to all the media, including the black press. And he said the black press ran his letters, and the Atlanta Constitution ran his letter on the editorial page. And he said he'd always been worried about whether or not this case was going to ever be fully investigated. And he said that day in Macon, Georgia, he said, when Ralph and I finish in Memphis, we're coming to Monroe. The night he was scheduled to fly from Memphis to Monroe, he was assassinated. He couldn't come. So Ralph Abernathy came. Hosea Williams came. Joseph Eccles Lowry, the president of SCLC, Jesse Jackson, Congressman John Lewis, Jose Williams lived over there for weeks. Okay. Senator Charles, all of the great civil rights leaders, Rita Samuels, Helen Butler, Walter Butler from Madison, they came, and James Orange, my big brother in the movement. So we've had just about every major civil rights, Ambassador Andrew Young was there last year with us. Every major leader from the movement has been there to Monroe just about. So when I talk about this case, I tell people this is an ongoing investigation. Many of the suspects who murdered the Malcolms and the Dorsets are still living. The FBI is there, the GBI is there. The United States Congress has responded by passing the Emmett Till bill introduced by Congressman John Lewis. The bill passed. President George Bush signed it October 7th of 2008. But now we're waiting on President Obama and his administration to ask for full funding from Congress. But this really is a part of Dr. King's ongoing work. So two things we do to make this case become what we think it ought to be in terms of closure. We march on the Moores Ford Bridge every first Saturday in April of every year. We march in Monroe to the bridge. Then on July 23rd, which is the last Saturday in July of every year, we march and we have a reenactment. Basically, we bring it back to life through amateur actors, walking you through that history. This will be the 8th annual reenactment coming up on July 23rd, First African Baptist Church in downtown Monroe. For us, to complete the King legacy, we've got to close this case out. When Roy Barnes was governor, we asked Governor Barnes to reopen the case, and he did, put the GBI on it. The House of Representatives passed a resolution unanimously. All of the Republicans and Democrats signed it, basically saying, we want those killers who are still living prosecuted for the horrible murders of the Malcolms and the Dorsets on July 25th, 1946. Wow. And so this is an ongoing part of King's work. Okay. And so, you know Robert Howard from Social Circle. We have a lot of folks from Covington, Forrest Sawyer, Sharon Sawyer, Joe Lightfoot, Archie Shepherd, and others. They are part of this. And it seemed like the whole world has become a part of this because every year we see people coming from Africa, Asia, Europe, Australia. We get a huge contingent of Africans who were born on the continent, coming from Nigeria and Tanzania and Somalia, Ethiopia. They come from South Africa. They say, we can feel the spirit of the movement back home, and we're motivated to come and join you here in the States, in Monroe, Georgia. So we are letting your audience know we want you to be a part of this ongoing movement. This is Dr. King's work. And if you want to help us complete Dr. King's mission, particularly in Monroe, Georgia, you can connect to this work by supporting us as we close out this case. If you want more information, you can go to our website, which is ga-gabeo.org, ga-gabeo.org.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go to our commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Hardy's Floor Covering, a trusted name in Covington and the surrounding areas since 1985, has the latest trends and assistance in providing everything you're looking for in quality floor covering. Hardy's offers a full line of carpet, vinyl, hardwood, laminates, VCT, and area rugs, with hundreds of remnants as well as rolls of carpet and vinyl in stock. Add value, charm, and style to your home or place of business. Hardy's offers free estimates, competitive pricing, and 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Choose the best. Choose Hardy's, 2227 Emory Street in Covington.
What is it that you need right now? Is it a peace of mind in these times of turmoil? Or do you need a minute to just unwind and regroup? Morgan Collectibles, Inspiration of the Heart, invites you to share in 3 dynamic books along with a new and unique line of greeting cards or words and encouragement to help you find that place. Available at all major bookstores, or you may go to iuniverse.com or whatisyourstory.info to place your order. You may also send check or money order to Morgan Collectibles, P.O. Box 2026, Covington, Georgia 30015.
Welcome back to What's Your Story? I hope you're enjoying our show today. My guest today is none other than Tyrone Brooks, Georgia State Representative. We've had an extensive conversation. He's given us a lot of history. Probably a lot of things have been talked about today that a lot of people didn't know. So I do appreciate that. I actually didn't get a chance to actually do a show of Black history during the month of February. So this is it right now. We got history right here. Mm-hmm. But what I would like to do, based on a lot of the information you have given us, what I would like for you to do is to talk to our young people that seem to be challenged with so many things. And my personal opinion, I think a lot of things that they're challenged with is basically the challenge with themselves.
Yes.
You know, and so by you coming through the civil rights movement, you have 31 years in the Georgia State Representative. There's a lot of history. Mm-hmm. So I would like for you to express to them what do you feel needs to be done in the area of their life and their arena at this moment.
Well, again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be on your program today. It's an honor to be here with you.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate it.
It's important to me to be here to talk on your show about my life and about my story, but it's just a little bit of my life, of course. But right. I would say that we have to promote our history 365.
Okay.
And when I get invitations, people call me up January, February. We want you to come and speaking for Black History Month. I say, you want me March, April, June, July, August, September, October.
Exactly.
And they say, oh, February. I said, no, we do this February and all the way around the year.
Right.
To me, that's how we really impact of spreading our real history, to our children and to those that we are trying to motivate. But I want to say this to the children. I'm a father of a son and a daughter. Tyrone Jr. is in law school trying to finish up, and if he's watching this show, he would know that what I say to you is what I've always said to him.
Well, good.
But children, you can be whatever you want to be. Don't let the bling bling and the gangbangers be your role models. Your parents and your guardians, your teachers, your preachers, the educators around you in many aspects of your life have to be your role models. Your role models must start at home. Your role models can't be on MTV or BET. You've got to look in your house and find your role models. Your mama, your daddy, your grandparents, uncles, aunties, cousins. And I always say, children, the places of worship, now, no matter your religious faith, but wherever your parents go, you must follow them. I grew up in a little small country town, Baptist church, raised up in a little Baptist church. Less than 200 people in my hometown church. Now, that's how I was raised. But everybody's not Baptist. Everybody's not Christian. So your place of worship, whatever God you serve, you want to get as close to that God as possible. The other thing I say to you, don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something. Because I had a teacher growing up in the country who told me, don't use the word can't in my class. He said, you can do anything that you set your mind to and you educate yourself and prepare yourself to do. So you can be whatever you want to be, anything you want to be in life. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do so-and-so. Remember, there were people who told Martin Luther King Jr., you can't finish Morehouse, you can't go to Boston, you can't go to Crozier, you won't be successful in Montgomery because you're overshadowed by your daddy. He wouldn't listen to them. The same with Hosea Williams. They told him, you can't be a research chemist. Hosea became a research chemist out of Morris Brown, went to Savannah, became the first black research chemist working for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Wow.
I'm sure Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth. I'm sure, Lewis Latimer was told, you can't invent a patent for the light bulb or the telephone, but he did, for Alexander Graham Bell and Thomas Edison. I'm sure that when we told Jesse Jackson to run in 1984, he said, I can't. We said, Jesse, don't use that word. You can't. He ran and he carried this state of Georgia and took us all the way to San Francisco, laid the foundation for Barack Obama. And I'm sure people told Barack Obama, you come from a single-parent home. Your mother raised you, along with the grandparents. Your daddy went back to Kenya. you can't be anybody in life. Well, he ended up in Chicago, and he met this dynamic young woman, Michelle, who gave him a job, and all of a sudden he's in the state Senate, then U.S. Senate, and now president, the chief executive of the world. The first one we've ever had. So all I'm trying to say to you children, you can be whatever you want to be. I want to see you become a productive citizen in this society. I don't want to see you become a statistic in the jails or the prisons. Because when you go to jail or the prison, I go.
Exactly.
You're part of me. You may not be a part of me biologically, but as an extended family, you're my children. And so this is the way I was raised. My brother and I and my sister, we were raised in what we call the village in the little country town of Warrenton. And the whole neighborhood raised us. And when the neighbors down the street chastised us, got the belt or the switch to us, my parents said, thank you. And that's why I'm sitting on this show with Brother Morgan today as a state representative, president of the Georgia Association of Black Elected Officials, civil rights worker all my life. And that's why I'm sitting here rather than behind the walls of a jail or prison or on death row, because we had that extended community. So when you see an adult telling you, correct yourself. Pull up your pants.
Watch out.
All right now. Pull up your pants and act right. Stop the profanity. Stop running in the mall. Stop running and cursing in the neighborhood. Stop acting up crazy so-and-so in the schoolroom, in the classroom, in the hall. When they tell you, you say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. Because they're trying to tell you what's good for you. So you are our children. You may not know me personally. You may look at the camera and the TV screen and say, what that man talking about? Well, you understand. You are my child. I'm your father. I'm your uncle. That's the way we have to relate to you. And so when you see me in real life one day, say, man, I saw you on TV, on the Ken Morgan Show, and you were just telling me that I was a part of your family, and I want you to walk up to me and say, hey, uncle, hey, daddy, hey, cousin, whatever you want me to be to you, because I want you to feel like I'm a part of you. Now, that's how I was raised. And that's the way we want to relate to children going forward. We have a program in the Georgia Association of Black Elected Officials. It's titled Stopping the Violence, Saving Our Children Ending the Carnage. That means that we want to stop the killing, want to stop the gang banging, stop the drug dealing, stop the early teenage pregnancies. Because babies having babies cannot raise babies. Boys and girls can make babies, but it takes men and women and a whole lot of luck to raise babies. So this is what I want to say as we're closing out, and we want you to get involved, get engaged. If you are in school, find a club that you can join that you think you can relate to. Join a sorority or fraternity. Join a civil rights organization of your choosing. Come to some of our meetings that we have around this big state. We're meeting all around Georgia all the time. This weekend we'll be in Quitman, Georgia, down in Brooks County near Valdosta. But go to the website, ga-gabeo.org. That's ga-gabeo.org. And you can see all of the history, you can see all of the information, all of the programs that we're involved in. Get involved in our work because you can be the next Martin Luther King Jr.
Okay. Well, we definitely appreciate all of the information that Tyrone Brooks have shared with us today. Vital information. He have spoken directly to you. I hope you have taken heed, heard what he has said, what has been spoken to you today. Basically, what he was saying, all in a nutshell, basically, go to school, be productive. Don't just settle for a job. Go to college, get a good education, become lawyers and doctors and successful and great people in America. He talked about Barack Obama, which is our first black president. That should encourage all of us to let us know that if he can do it, then we can do it. Don't let anybody place any value on you because you are the one that knows the value of yourself. My name is Kenneth Morgan. My guest has been State Representative Tyrone Brooks. To my producer, Heidi Fuller, Natasha Davis Bowen, a visionary, Arise. Thank you for watching this episode of What's Your Story. Thank you again.
Thank you very much
for being on our show.
Thank you.
All right.